course hope help to the games under £15 PSN sale. You're in luck. This is a really good sale with a ton of really cool games at really low prices. So we've got a load of content in this video. Strap yourselves in. We've got a lot of games to look at. And if you like the sound of that, subscribe and I'll help you save money and find cool games every week. You're welcome here anytime. Okay, this sale ends on the 12th of October, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up is Excel World vs Sword Art Online. It was released in 2017, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £6.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal. In this action RPG, the game worlds of Sword Art Online and Excel World have begun to merge, and you soon discover that Yui from Sword Art has vanished, and you must now journey to challenge the 7 Kings of Pure Color from Excel World in order to find her. You get to recruit characters from a large roster of both series and take to the skies with flying abilities using magic and sword skills to slay enemies. All in all, it looks like a pretty decent action RPG, but if you're a fan of Excel World, Sword Art Online or both, you'll get a lot more out of it. And if you're not, then you might want to look at one of the other RPGs, because there's plenty around at the moment. Up next we have Avon Colony. It was released in 2017, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £4.99, which is really good. In this game you get to build massive sprawling cities on Avon Prime, an alien planet full of deserts, tundras and wetlands. You get to manage your colony while exploring the planet, discovering its ancient secrets and alien wildlife. This game looks really awesome. I'm a big fan of city management games, and this may not be the most complicated one ever made, but it's still really cool, and I like the theme of it. So if you're a fan of city management games, why not check it out? It's pretty decent, and it's at a good price. And if you've never played a city management game before, this is a great place to start. It's pretty cheap, and it's way more accessible than some of the more complicated ones, so it's a fantastic place to start. If you've ever wanted to try one, I'd recommend this one. Why not take a look at it? And on a side note, the DLC is also on sale for 50% discount for the price of £1.24, which is really great. If you're picking up this game, you might as well pick up the DLC as well, especially at that price. We have a VR game next, Doom VFR. It was released in 2017, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £3.89, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really low price, especially for a VR game. This VR first-person shooter supports move controllers and aim controllers as well, so you don't need them to play it, but if you have them it'll be a lot more fun, especially the aim controller. In this game you get to play as a cybernetic survivor on the UAC Mars facility, activated to fight the demon invasion. You get to face intense VR combat and puzzle solving, while restoring the facility's operational stability by any means necessary. You can get the Doom 3 game ported for VR, which is great, but this game was developed from the ground up for VR, making it a much more VR-friendly experience. Pretty much the only downside is I hear it's pretty short, but it's supposed to be a good, enjoyable experience anyway. So if you're a fan of Doom and you have a PSVR headset, you should definitely take a look at this. You'll probably really enjoy it if you're a fan, so it's definitely worth checking out if you like the sound of that. And hey, if you've never played a Doom game in VR before, then like I said, there is more than one. You can get Doom 3 ported to VR, which is the full Doom 3 game in VR. And if you're not a fan of Doom, there's a load of first-person shooters and adventure games in VR that you can get for about the same price as this. So if you're not sure, you'll have plenty of options if you look around the sales. So if you like the sound of that, why not subscribe and I'll help you find another game in a future sale. Either way, you've got plenty of options, so if you're not sure about this one, you can always pick up something else instead. We have a Metroidvania game next, Feudal Alloy. It was released in 2019, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £2.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really low price. In this game you play as the fish-controlled farming robot Atu, who after surviving an outlaw attack on his village, finds himself lost in the woods at the start of an adventure to find his way back home. It features RPG elements and tons of equipment collecting. The art style of this game is really cool. It's great to look at, and it definitely makes the game a bit more enjoyable to play. Outside of that, I've seen mixed reviews about this game, but it looks like a pretty decent Metroidvania game, although it might not be for everyone, but it's at a really good price. So if you're a fan of Metroidvania games and you're looking for another one to play, you might want to check this one out, and I think it'd be worth the money, even if it's not one of the best ones you've ever played. And hey, if you've never played a Metroidvania game before, then I wouldn't recommend this one because of the mixed reviews. You can get much more AAA ones that are much more well loved and guaranteed to be much better gameplay experiences. They may not be as cheap as this one, but they get pretty close, so you're probably better off looking for one of them instead. So subscribe and I'll help you find them in another sale. Final Fantasy X and X2 HD Remaster is our next game. It was released in 2015, so it's 7 years old, but the games are much older than that really, and they're on a 50% discount for the price of £12.49, which is a bit more expensive than I like, but Final Fantasy games don't get discounted that much and you're getting 2 full games for this price, so it's not too bad. As this version includes Final Fantasy X and its sequel X2, both remastered and feature all of the versions of the soundtracks included. So you're getting both of the full games remastered with a little bit of extra as well, which is great. These are both JRPGs, and in the first game you play as the star Blitzball player Tidus, who joins a summoner named Yuna on her quest to save the world of Spira from an endless cycle of destruction wrought by the colossal menace known as Sin. While the sequel is set 2 years after the Eternal Calm and follows Yuna and her friends as they become sphere hunters on a quest to find the answers to an ancient mystery. I really like the Final Fantasy games, and so do a lot of other people as well, and you can see why they're some of the best JRPGs ever made. They're consistently great, and a lot of them are top tier. And with this package, again 2 full games, and 2 of the better ones as well. These 2 are both highly regarded, and they're from the golden age of the Final Fantasy series. They had some of the best graphics, and some of the most unique features as well, especially the second game, which had some very unique RPG elements, and leveling systems for your characters. Basically, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, or JRPGs in general, or even just normal RPGs, you owe it to yourself to give these games a try. If you've never played them, take a look at them. They're well worth the money, even if I'd like them to be a bit cheaper. They're still worth it. And hey, if you've never played a Final Fantasy before, or a JRPG, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. You can get cheaper Final Fantasy games if you buy the older ones individually. And if you go outside of Final Fantasy, you can get a load of different JRPGs or other RPGs cheaper than this, so you should definitely take a look around if that's what you're looking for. Our next game is Hoa. It was released in 2021, so it's only a year old, and is on at least a 50% discount for the price of £5.99, or £3.59 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal for PS Plus users. In this puzzle platformer, you embark on a peaceful, mysterious journey through a beautifully hand-painted world of magical creatures and childhood wonder. It features subtle and emotional storytelling, with a mysterious ending and an original live soundtrack as well, which is really good production value for an indie game. I'm a big fan of puzzle platformers, I really like them, and I think they're very accessible to everyone. I'm pretty much convinced everybody enjoys these sorts of games if they give them a try. And this one is absolutely beautiful. The graphic style really drew me in. It really makes me want to play it, and it looks really awesome. It's a very unique experience as well, as it's a peaceful journey that's designed to be really relaxing and pull you into a world full of childhood wonder. So if you're a fan of puzzle platformers, and you fancy a nice, chill, relaxing, good quality one, why not take a look at this? My gut feeling says this game's going to be awesome, and I'll probably pick it up myself at some point, so why not check it out? And hey, if you've never played a puzzle platformer before, then this one looks like a really good one. It is a bit unique though because of the peaceful, chill vibe of the game, so if you'd prefer something with a bit more action and combat, you'll have plenty of options if you take a look around. Either way, you don't have to rush to buy this game, as I think it'll get cheaper in the future, so you can always buy it the next time it comes on sale instead if you're not sure. Wick X is our next game. It was released in 2020, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty decent deal. In this RTS, which is set prior to the movies, you play as Baba Yaga himself, as you fight to rescue Winston and Sharon from the dangerous villain Hex. It features voice acting from some of the movie cast, unlockable weapons and equipment, and a unique time-based combat system as well. I'm a big fan of the John Wick movies, and it's cool to see them making a game about it. It seems like a bit of an indie game, but hey, it's interesting. I haven't seen an RTS with a combat system like this before. It really looks like they've tried to make the game a lot like the combat in the movie, which is a great thing. You get to live out your John Wick fantasies, shooting people left, right and centre in this game. You can't ask for much more. That's exactly what you'd want from a John Wick game. So if you're a big fan of RTS games and you're looking for something a bit different, you should definitely check this out. It looks really awesome and cool, and I think it'd be a lot of fun, and the theme helps as well. You can't go wrong with a John Wick theme. And hey, if you haven't played an RTS game before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting with this one. It's very different and unique, and it's not atypical of the rest of the genre, so I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really into John Wick. Otherwise, take a look around. There's not a massive amount of RTS games around, but they do come up on sale occasionally, so subscribe to make sure you don't miss out when they come up on sale next. Mighty No. 9 is our next game. It was released in 2016, so it's 6 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a dirt cheap price. In this action platformer, you play as Beck, the 9th in a line of powerful robots. When a mysterious virus infects the other 8, it's up to you to fight your way through 12 challenging stages to stop them and steal their abilities for yourself. It's basically a Mega Man ripoff, but it's a pretty famous one, and a lot of people hated it when it came out. But hey, it had to live up to Mega Man, which is pretty much impossible. But it's not a bad game. It even includes 2-player online co-op, boss rush mode, mini-missions, challenges, and an online race mode. It's got a lot of cool features added to it, and if you can get over the comparison to Mega Man, you might just find a nice little game for yourself. So if you like the sound of that, take a look. We have a racing game next, Need for Speed Payback. It was released in 2017, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the price of £2.49, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a dirt cheap price for such a good quality game. In this game, your crew, after being divided by betrayal, is now reunited for revenge to take down the House, a corrupted cartel that rules the city's casinos, criminals and cops. It features car customization, wreck rebuilds, and 8-player online multiplayer as well. This series was legendary back in the 90s. It piggybacked on the success of the Fast and the Furious film franchise to catapult itself into gaming history. These games were everywhere back in the day, and they deserved it. They were great games, and a lot of people loved them, including myself. They eventually fell off like most game franchises do, but these days, they've come back a bit. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're not rubbish anymore. They're definitely worth your time. So if you like the sound of that, why not take a look at this game? It's a really good price, and there's still a lot of fun to play. And hey, if you haven't played a Need for Speed game before, or a racing game, this is a decent place to start. It may not be the best game in the franchise, and the franchise may not be what it used to be, but there's still a lot of fun, and at this price you can't complain too much. If you're interested, why not take a look? This series isn't dead yet, and it's still worth your time. Next up, we have Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch Remastered. It was released in 2019, so it's 3 years old, and it's on at least an 80% discount for the price of £7.99 or £5.99 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it for PS Plus users, making it a really good deal for them. In this RPG, you get to join Oliver on an adventure in a world full of ferocious enemies and new friends, hoping to bring back his mother while fighting the forces of evil. It features collectible monster battling, graphics by Studio Ghibli, and sound by Joe Hisashi, so the production value is AAA to the max here. The graphics in this game are beautiful. It looks like you're playing a Studio Ghibli movie. They're that good. And the battling system is basically a Pokemon Dragon Warrior Monsters sort of system. So if you like those games, that'll be a great bonus for you here. Mixing those sorts of combat systems into a proper RPG, well, that's a good idea. And it makes this game really unique and really cool. This game is amazing. Highly recommended for fans of RPGs, and for fans of Pokemon and Dragon Warrior Monster games as well. If you like any of what I've said, definitely take a look at it. It'll be well worth your time, I promise. And hey, if you've never played an RPG before, this is a really good quality one, and it would be a really good place to start. But you can get some others that are cheaper. So if you're not sure, you might be able to pick up a better deal if you take a look around. So it's up to you really. You've got plenty of options in this genre. Next up, we have One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. It was released in 2015, so it's 7 years old, and is on an 85% discount for the price of £2.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really low price, especially for an anime franchise game. This third-person hack-and-slash game is set in the original One Piece story arc in Fuchsia Village, where you get to gather up the Straw Hat crew and take on a host of dangerous foes, including Doflamingo, Hordy Jones, Caesar Clown, and many more, as you fight your way through a load of themed levels around the show. This is basically a Dynasty Warriors game themed after One Piece, which I've got no complaints about. I love the Dynasty Warriors series. They're great games and I love them a lot. So if you're a fan of One Piece and you like Dynasty Warriors, this series is perfect for you. But if you only like one of those two things, then it may not be for you. It's a really decent game at a really good price. Why not take a look? And hey, if you've never played a hack and slash game like these before, this is a really good deal. So if you like fun action games, you might want to check this one out. They're a lot of fun, and they're great mindless entertainment, they really are. Why not take a look if you like the sound of it? We have a puzzle game next, Poyo Champions. It was released in 2019, so it's 3 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the low price of £1.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a phenomenal deal for such a cool little game. This is a puzzle game that's easy to learn, tough to master, where you get to craft strategic chains to drop a devastating attack, to defeat your competitors and become the next Poyo champion. It features local 8-player tournaments, and 4-player local and 8-player online multiplayer. So this is a really cool addictive puzzle game, and it's great if you play games with friends, or have a lot of couch co-op parties, because you can set up your own tournaments, and compete to be the best puzzler in the house. Fans of puzzle games should love this game, and like I said, if you've got friends to play with, it'll be great, it really will. But for anyone that doesn't like puzzle games, or doesn't play a lot of local co-op, then maybe this game's not for you. It's at an awesome price, it's different, and it's a really good game. Definitely worth checking out for anyone that's even slightly interested. Our next game is Risen 3 Titan Lords Enhanced Edition. It was released in 2015, so it's 7 years old, and is on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially as this edition includes enhanced graphics and all 3 DLC expansions as well, so you're getting the complete version of the game, and it's even been improved as well, which is brilliant. This game is set in a world abandoned by the gods and full of enemies and dangers, as you awaken robbed of your soul, and now you'll need powerful allies to rise up against the Titans. It also features a branching story based on your decisions, so there's a lot of replayability in this as well, and to be honest, for an older game, the graphics actually look pretty decent, and it looks like a lot of fun too. I'd never heard of this game before, but it looks really good and decent, I gotta be fair, and at this price, it's a steal. It looks like a really good quality RPG at a really good price. If you like third-person RPGs, you should definitely take a look at this one. And if you've never played one before, then why not take a look at it for this price, because you're getting a lot of quality for your money. Next up is my star buy, Saints Row 4 Re-Elected and Get Out of Hell. It was released in 2015, so it's 7 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £3.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a phenomenal deal for such a great game series, and a load of content as well, as this bundle includes the Saints Row 4 game, and the full expansion of Get Out of Hell as well, so again a ton of content for a load of fun. In this open world action series, after saving the world from a terrorist organization, you get voted in as the president, just in time to deal with an alien invasion, and finally enter Hell to save the boss and fight the demon armies while meeting some historical icons along the way. If you like GTA, but you've ever wondered, it's a bit too serious, wouldn't it be better if it wasn't so serious? This is the game series for you. Saints Row is basically GTA, but more crazy, and with a ton of content included for free. There's no microtransactions or scummy DLC add-ons here. So if that sounds great to you, why not take a look at it? You'll have a ton of fun with this game, I promise. You just can't beat it, you really can't. GTA could learn a lot from this series. These days it's lost the spirit that made it so much fun back in the day. And hey, if you've never played an open world action game before, then why not take a look at this game? It's crazy fun, and there's a lot of action and hilarity to be had with it. I can't recommend it highly enough at this price. The new Saints Row game is supposed to be garbage, so why not pick up one of the good ones instead? Like I said, it's my star buy. Definitely take a look at it. It's well worth your time and money at this price. You'll love it, I promise. We have another JRPG next, Tales of Esperia Definitive Edition. It was released in 2019, so it's 3 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £6.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really decent deal, as this edition has updated full HD graphics, new music tracks, mini-games, bosses, and unreleased costume DLC, plus 2 new playable characters, Patty Floor and Flynn Skifo, so again a ton of extra content, and some new stuff as well, which is brilliant. It's above and beyond what most games do for their definitive editions, that's for sure. In this JRPG, you follow the fates of 2 friends on separate paths that intertwine in an epic adventure as a power struggle begins in a civilization dependent on ancient technology. It features beautiful anime graphics and amazing anime cutscenes. If you're a fan of JRPGs but you haven't played this series, why not take a look at it? There's usually a couple of them on sale, and they're really good games. Well worth playing if you've never played them before. And hey, if you've never played a JRPG before, this is a good series to start on. It's a really good one, and really popular. You can't go far wrong really. Just be careful because you're going to waste a lot of time on these games. Because JRPGs are like that. They suck you in, and you love them, but god do they eat through your time. So you're welcome. Enjoy it. It'll last a long time. And you'll get your money's worth, that's for sure. And the final game I have for you is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR. It was released in 2017, so it's 5 years old, and is on a 79% discount for the price of £10.07, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially for a VR game, and a game of this magnitude. It even includes the DLC expansions Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn, so you're getting the full experience as well, which is brilliant. This is the VR version of the epic legendary Norse-themed RPG adventure. Dragons have returned to Tamriel, and you play the Dragonborn, the prophesied hero, who will stand against them and save Tamriel from destruction and devastation. I don't have to explain to you what this game is. If you've played games at all, like if you've played them for more than a week, then you know what this game is. It's from a legendary RPG series, and it's the most famous one of it. It's been released more times than I can remember, and it's been available for decades at this point, or it feels like at least. But in this case, it's the full VR version, which means it's only playable in VR, and that's an amazing gift. If you've got a PSVR headset and you like RPGs, or even if you don't like RPGs, this is probably one of the best VR games you can play. You owe it to yourself to consider it. Take a look at it. It's a really amazing game, on the best platform you can play games on. Definitely take a look at it. And hey, if you've never played an Elder Scrolls game before, or a VR RPG, this is probably the best one on PSVR. You should definitely check it out. It's a top tier game in the best way you could play it. If you've got a PSVR headset, you should at least consider this. You really should. And that's all of the games I have for the games under £15 PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones? Did I pick bad ones? And what about the style buy? Did it deserve it? Or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your complaints down in the comments and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you guys found some games you're interested in. But more importantly, I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Au revoir.